How do you honor a legend when the story must go on? Star Wars has to figure out what they're going to do after the passing of iconic actress Carrie Fisher, and we're talking about what that might look like today on Screen Junkies News. The galaxy is still in mourning after the shocking death of our princess and general, Carrie Fisher. The actress and writer died December 27th, and it was reported at the time that she had finished all of her scenes in Star Wars Episode 8, to be released later this year. The Hollywood Reporter's insider sources claim that either in this coming episode or in Episode 9, Leia was to have two very important scenes, one with her brother Luke Skywalker and one confronting her son, Kylo Ren. The same source believed Leia's role was supposed to increase in 9, but no word on how. Director and writer Colin Trevorrow will be meeting in Los Angeles with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy to go over what to do. And to talk about what that might look like, we've got an expert panel today, Spencer J. Gilbert and Dan M. Murrell. Before we get started, guys, this whole thing sucks. We realize that this sucks. We all miss Carrie Fisher. We were all really saddened by hers and her mother's, Debbie Reynolds' death this past winter. And before we do jump into this, Dan, you wanted to say something.
Well, yeah, no, I just want to say that, you know, as fans of Star Wars, which we all are, these are questions that we're intensely curious about. This is something that's going to be addressed, that they're going to have to figure out how to do tastefully. But I just want to make sure, as we ramp into Episode 9, even in the coming months and years or whatever, that we don't lose fact of the thing that you know, the important thing is not Princess Leia.
Right.
The important thing is Carrie Fisher and remembering the legacy that she left behind, not just you know, on Star Wars, but on Hollywood.
Absolutely.
In the world of mental health awareness. Just she left a great legacy behind, and you know, this is a piece of it.
Yeah.
And you know, these are questions that we need that are going to be answered.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that in all of this, not just today, but next month and next year, we don't lose sight of the fact that Carrie Fisher was an amazing human being that contributed so much, not just to Star Wars and fan culture, but to our culture in general.
Absolutely. And I think we really got a little taste of that when she passed and we saw all of her work and everybody celebrating all of her work. And I think it's really awesome that we got to see her in The Force Awakens. Before Disney bought Lucasfilm, that was not on the table. We were not going to have new Star Warses. And now we do, and then we did, and we got her and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford to come back, and it was, I thought, awesome. So that having been said, let's jump into talking about what this might mean for Episode 8, Episode 9. Spencer, do we write Carrie Fisher's character, General Organa, out of Episode 9 entirely? Does she die in between? Does the character pass away in between the episodes? What are we doing?
It's so soon. I don't know. And I'm sure they don't either. I mean, nothing in life, it appears, is certain but death, taxes, and more Star Wars crap. Yeah. So we're going to have to do more. Without Princess Leia, she's too big a part of this universe to just to write off in like an opening title crawl or in an aside. I think you need to give her a send-off of some sort. What that is, I don't know. Sadly, I would take a cue from the Fast and Furious movies where you do a light CGI thing. You get a good song going, and then you have them ride off into the sunset, remembering them as we'd like them to be remembered.
Dan, you're a big Trekkie, right?
I'm a huge Trekkie.
Can we take a cue from another film that handled an iconic character and celebrity's death, Leonard Nimoy, this year, Star Trek Beyond? Is this a possibility that we can handle it the way that film handled it?
I think that they should. I thought that the way that Star Trek Beyond handled Spock's death was beautiful and touching. You know, it was something that was addressed. You know, it wasn't, they didn't put his face on another actor's body. It was, you know, the younger version of Spock was informed of it. It informed his character going forward throughout that entire movie. It informed his decisions. His legacy was felt on that film and in that character. And you know, if you ask me, I think that's the biggest tribute that you can pay to someone like Carrie Fisher, which is to make her character have as much impact on the Star Wars universe as she had in real life. And, you know, the character of Leia is a very meaningful character in that universe. So I would love to see them formulate a way that honors her legacy. I don't want to see a CGI character. Sure. I'm still not sold on what they did in Rogue One. For me, that was the biggest hurdle. In
case people aren't aware, actor Peter Cushing was brought back from the dead, essentially, for Rogue One. And spoiler alert, So was a 19-year-old Carrie Fisher, as she appeared at the beginning of Star Wars: A New Hope, to mixed, but I think generally positive and praiseworthy results. I think that Rogue One did it respectfully, the same way that the Fast and Furious 7 respectfully handled Paul Walker's death. But Dan, you've got some reservations, it seems like, with the CG route.
I just don't. It's not a human being, and it doesn't look like a person. And they get close, but it looks like a video game character. And I think that, Peter Cushing passed away many, many years ago. They got the blessing of his estate.
Sure.
So, I understand that they didn't just take his image and throw it up on screen without approval. I just think it's kind of weird.
But you have to say,
it's really weird.
You have to say goodbye to Princess Leia on screen in some way.
Yes.
And I don't think you can do that without her being on camera. I think
you
there's
can.
probably a tasteful way to do it.
There's a tasteful way to do it.
Yeah.
I agree with what the Furious series did. I thought in a very beautiful way was a great way to handle that. I agree that you have to have some kind of way to involve her. I don't want her to be like, oh, nothing happened. Here's a computer person. Like that's.
Spencer, give us some pitches.
It's just going to be a distraction.
Give us some pitches, including with the use of visual effects or not with the use of visual effects.
Wow, you're putting me on the spot. These are going to drift into bad taste territory real quick.
Give us some pitches real quick. Story-wise, give us some ideas of how you would like. Now, again, talking about the scene with Peter Cushing's Tarkin in Rogue One, his intro scene featured him in a reflection with a window, and I think a lot of people really love that. I thought it was a very cool and classy way to reintroduce a character who we haven't seen in many years. Do you have any ideas for how they could do this with General Organa?
She says, I'm sick of all these Star Wars. Then you see her steal the Millennium Falcon and
Classic
just
Carrie
speed
Fisher.
off. And they go, I wonder if we'll see her again.
Classic Carrie
I hope
Fisher.
she's happy where she's going. No, but I think that what Dan said is true, is try to find it a way that actually fits naturally in the story and actually makes sense for the character. Otherwise, it's going to seem tacked on and hammy.
I think the good thing is that they've got a brain trust behind these movies. You have Kathleen Kennedy, you have J.J. Abrams in the universe. I mean, you have Rian Johnson, who worked with her in episode 7, 8, 9, and Colin Trevorrow, who's doing episode 9. I think that you've got some great minds there, and they have an opportunity to really kind of put their collective brains together and come up with something really touching and appropriate, I think.
We haven't seen, obviously, episode 8. We don't even know what it's called yet. It's coming out later this year, 2017, and we don't know what the story is involving Leia. We know that her role was supposed to have been expanded. Do you think that Lucasfilm might be waiting to see how that film plays out, how audiences react to it? Because again, we are just now reeling with the death of Carrie Fisher and her mother. 12 months from now, we're going to be revisited with her and her performance again in this film. Our audience is going to, how are they going to respond? Is there a possibility that Lucasfilm is waiting, and then with how everybody responds going forward there, taking the 2 years to make episode 9?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
This is, if she's as crucial a piece of the puzzle as they've said, then this is a problem. And it's the reason that we're talking about it right now is because this is something they need to address and begin addressing, as sad as it is. And Disney's very confident in their movies. They don't usually have a wait and see approach. There was a little bit of a wait and see approach with Rogue One, but they don't usually have a wait and see approach as far as like, this is what we're doing down the line. So I think this is something that they're actively tackling, and they have time, I think, to do it right.
Yeah. Before we flip over to a fact checker, just real quick, want to mention too, it is very well known that Carrie Fisher had been very vocal and negatively so over the years about how George Lucas owns her image to do Star Wars stuff with Princess Leia for forever and ever, and it became part of her bits, and she joked about it. She was very sarcastic and self-deprecating about it. So that's something to consider. How the family of Carrie Fisher might react to going forward using her image. But let's head over to Charlie Feldman, our fact checker. Charlie, you've got some tweets for us. What do you got?
So we do have some tweets, but I do want to mention that, in Wishful Drinking, she has a whole talk about shampoo bottles where you pick up her head and pour out the shampoo. She did approve the Rogue One imagery CG, but who's to say she approved in perpetuity? Who knows what her contract says?
Right.
It remains to be seen, but she would joke about it. If she were alive, she would joke about it. But Twitter got Louisville, who says, I think they dress it in the crawl and have the characters mourn and come together to fight in her honor. Her being the avatar of hope, that might be a good solution in that here Hope seemingly has died, so we need to take up her torch. Might be a good idea. But it's tough. We've got Robert McGovern right underneath him saying, have the next episode start with her funeral.
Yeah.
So start bleak and then go up from there, I guess.
Yeah. We've got some other tweets. We got at Delisha Renee says, honestly, I don't know. Probably a pretty good answer to how do we handle the death of Carrie Fisher. And at DG Ranger 1994 says, if she's not injured in episode 8, have her die peacefully between films and promote Lieutenant Connix to General. Lieutenant Connix is the name of the character played by Billie Lourd, Carrie Fisher's daughter, who had a cameo role in Force Awakens. I think that would be a really touching tribute. That'd be really interesting. So there you have it, guys. That was some of our thoughts on how Lucasfilm and Star Wars and that whole story can handle the death of Carrie Fisher. But we want to know what you guys think below. Keep it classy. I'm sure you will. That's what Carrie would have wanted. Or you know what? Make a joke about it. Also, probably what Carrie would have wanted. You guys want to see more Screen Junkies news stuff? You can click right here. There's videos. We got new stuff every single day. You can always be tweeting at us at SJ News. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.